Top 5 AI terms which you should be aware of, because we are dealing with AIs every day. We are breathing AI, we are eating AI, and we are learning AI every day, but we still don't have our foundation clear. And that is why I've got this for you guys. We are going to be understanding about the top 5 AI terms so that our foundation is clear. And in my previous video, I spoke about APIs, which you can find the link of the video somewhere over here, where I spoke about how APIs can be used, what are the different kinds of APIs, all this covered in this particular video. Please watch that video to have your foundation cleared. But let's quickly jump into this particular video and understand the top 5 AI terms. And so for that, my number one term is gonna be LL, which is known as large language models. Now these large language model, as the name suggests, it is trained on huge database. Okay, now when we are training these large language model, it consumes a lot of energy. And when I'm mentioning it consumes a lot of energy, it means, for example, an LLM like OpenAI, ChatGPT, it consumed for about 100 to 350 house energy, electricity energy, when it was being trained. So it is that much of energy is consumed when we are training an LLM. So large language models trained on large data, and they consume a lot of large energy. As we understood, it has already consumed for a model like ChatGPT 5. It is said that it is gonna be consuming electricity of 350 homes, American homes, which they consume in a year. It consumes that much of data when the LLM is being trained. When the ChatGPT first model came, it also already consumed near about 120 homes of American homes electricity for 1 year. It has already consumed that much of energy. And now all these large language models work on the neuron pattern. This is again how the LLMs works. So it works on neurons, and for the humans understands languages, but these large language models, they understand neurons. And that's how we think that LLMs are intelligent, but it is not. It is just a pattern recognition. It is providing you what is the best next possibility, because it is trained in that way. So that is a very quick explanation of large language models. And some examples of large language models are going to be ChatGPT, Gemini, Grok, DeepSeek, Olama. All these things are all this whichever we are trained for generating generating a result is what we call as large language model. They are only and only capable of generating result. You can ask for something, but they cannot do the task for you. So that's what the capacity of a large language model is about. Now moving to the second term, which is SLMs, which is small language model. Now the difference between large language model and small language model is that basically large language model is trained on public data and it is given for the public usage, whereas small language model is not trained on public data. And this is the most in demand model right now for companies who are into top 50 of fortune companies, companies like Google, companies like Microsoft, Apple. Now they have their private data, right? They don't want their data to be given for the public access. So they want their in-house small language model who can generate answers. Just like, if you want to understand small language model, basically Apple creates its own chat GPT trained on their own data. It could be sales data, it could be revenue data, it could be products data, it could be employee data, everything in one. Now small language models could also be going very specific, like it can also be trained only and only for the sales data. So for companies like Apple, we are taking an example, they have such huge lot of data for sales as well, right? So this model will be only trained for the sales data, and Apple can get the answers for their sales from by just chatting with this SLM model, and they can get the data right there because it is trained in that way. Talking about the energy it consumes as compared to large language models, obviously it consumes lesser energy and lesser data is provided as compared to large language models and small language model, but it is very much accurate when talking about the accuracy of the results it gives. I'm not saying large language models do not give you the accurate results, but small language models trained on small, not small, but huge data, but for a very specific thing, then only it is able to provide you the accurate data, and it just does not hallucinate because it has been trained for that one particular, solving one particular problem of the company. So companies like this, Apple, Microsoft, they have their own maybe HR SLMs, maybe sales SLMs. So this is why these companies do not provide SLMs for the public usage. It is only and only available for the in-house company usage. It also consumes like 50%. If I am saying LLMs are consuming 150 American houses electricity of 1 year consumption for training, SLMs consumes the 50% of it. You can consider it consuming 50 to 75 American house electricity homes, which they use for 1 year. SLM uses that much of energy when it is being trained. Again, the possibilities are endless with SLMs, but yeah, the accuracy is mind blowing when we talk about SLMs. Coming about the third term is tokenization. So a lot of you might have already heard about the word called tokens, because when we are creating any API key, it usually talks about tokens. That how, if you go through the planning, the pricing plan of any LLM, it talks about this billion, $30 billion or 30 million tokens available. So what is this tokenization and how do we calculate it? So for example, when you give an LLM a prompt like don't judge a book by its cover. Okay, so this is a simple sentence for a human mind, but how does the LLM interprets it in its system? So this will be one token and this will be another token. Why? Because don't is a combination of, like, for example, we have ing, right? We have got ers. Now these are little grammatical things. So this is considered to be a separate token, this is considered to be a separate token, and same way this is considered to be a separate token. This won't be considered as a single token. So this is going to be considered as a single token. Then again, third token, and the fourth, and the five. Now this is going to be sixth token, and the seventh token, and the eighth token. Now for a human brain, this whole could be one simple sentence, but for LLM this goes like uh, 2 tokens, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So for LLMs to understand, this is 9 tokens. In the same way, whenever you give a prompt to LLM, any LLM, it actually breaks into chunks of tokenization tokens, and then processes at the backend, and then generates the answer for you. And that is how you actually calculate the tokenization. When you go through the pricing plan of any LLM, this is how you should be interpreting that. One sentence does not means one token or 10 tokens. This is how you should be understanding, and this is the simplest way I've explained you. Something like this will be considered another token. For example, posting, right? So post is gonna be one token, this is gonna be a separate token, so this comes to a 2 token. Same way, pasting is gonna be 1 token, and then ing is gonna be 2, so again 2 tokens. That way you actually calculate the tokenization, and that is how the LLMs processes their data at the backend. So the third terminology is gonna be MCPs, which is Model Context Protocols, which you might have heard a lot of time. And basically, to give the best example to understand this, is you consider any LLM like a computer. Okay, so you consider any LLM like a computer screen. Okay, so let me just erase this. So any LLM is like a computer screen. This is an LL, but computer screen is useless without a keyboard. A computer screen is useless without a mouse. A computer screen is useless without a CPU. A computer screen is useless without a UPS, right? A computer screen is another useless tool without a printer. So again, MCPs are model context protocol, which gives LLMs the ability to do the task. So for example, this MCPs you consider as a Docker station. You have Dockers in computer, where it actually connects you to maybe a LAN cable, a printer. This what a Docker station gives you more flexibility to get more devices connected at the same time, right? So in the same way, MCPs give you more flexibility to have your LLMs connected. You can get tasks done. So for example, if you might have heard about Claude MCP, you might have heard about Zapier MCP. So what does this MCP is? Because you can right now LLMs are only trained to um, give you the generative answer, but as soon as you give them the MCP abilities, it actually can go ahead and book a flight. So you can just simply prompt on ChatGPT that I want to fly to Mumbai this date and this time. I'm okay with this timing. Please go ahead and book flight for me under this pricing range. So it will, when you give it an MCP ability, it goes ahead and books the flight for you and provides you the booked tickets. Right now, without MCP ability, you can just chat. It will only give you the suggestions of the flight. It does not have the capability to book the flight. In the same way, once you give the ChatGPT access to your maybe a Google Calendar, it can go ahead and book the calendar for you. It can go ahead and cancel the calendar for you. It can go ahead and create a new event for you. So that's how MCP enhances the abilities of LLMs. And people have deployed their own MCPs. You can go on GitHub and find their own repositories. If you want me to find that, type GitHub into the chat box and I'll give you more references on how to find those GitHub repositories and how to connect that into your LLMs. So that's how we have understood till now 4 LLMs, SLMs, tokenization, 4th as MCPs, and that's gonna be the 5th terminology, which is about RAGs. And a lot of people have already started. RAGs are outdated. Well, the full form of RAGs is retrieval augmented generation, which is basically you provide data to AI, a very specific data to AI, and you can get data retrieved from it. So for example, I give my sales department's data to LLM, and I can actually chat with my document. So that's what RAG is about. I can give my ads performance sheet to LLM and I can actually chat with my document. So that's what RAG is all about. That now most of you might be confused that what is the difference between RAGs and SLMs. Well, SLMs are trained on huge data for companies like who are into big 50 Fortune 100 companies. Those type of companies have a huge lot of data. So in that case, they use SLMs. For SMEs, SMBs, for people like us, we can definitely have RAGs created for us where we can simply chat with our data. Maybe you can create an onboarding document where any new onboarded person or any new onboarded employee can just come onto this panel and do the chat and get trained as instead of you doing the onboarding. So again, this is very specific data and very small chunk of data is given to the LLMs, and this is all related to data with intelligence. That's it. So you can actually chat with your data, and that's the problem which RAG agent solves for you. And here the data volume is lesser as compared to SLMs. SLMs aim to have internal company internal company's database, whereas RAGs have, but it gives you the ability to create it for any with any chunk of data. But when you have a huge lot of data, you go for SLMs. Now again, SLMs cost a lot as compared to RAGs. RAGs are easier and cheap and way more cheaper. Like there's no comparison in the monetary the expense of getting this development. RAGs and SLMs are two different things. When you understand the meaning, it might look same, but it is a whole lot of different vertical when we talk about the actual deployment of the products. So that's all about the top 5 AI terms which we just spoke about. And if you have, comment your best understood term in the comment section and I'll create a detailed video for the same. And let me know what other AI terms you want me to cover in the further videos. Comment the same in the comment section. I'll create a standalone video for the same, and I'll see you in the next video.